Namaste everybody, welcome to YogaCandi. My name's Candace and today we have a class that's going to be really great for all levels, and it's going to help with headaches, neck tension, shoulder tension. Also, if you have some backache, we're going to do some lovely hip openers to help release the lower spine, and if you've got any sciatica as well. So it's just a bit of an all-round great flow for aches and pains of the torso, the head, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. It's going to be fairly gentle. We're going to hold stretches for quite long times, so it's a little bit of a yin class again. Have some yoga blocks handy. If you don't have any yoga blocks, then grab some nice firm cushions, or you can use some books, something like that, and just have them aside. So we're going to start off in an unusual position that doesn't have a name. We're going to come all the way down onto our backs. So just bend your knees, put your arms out in front of you and slowly roll down onto the spine. And we're going to start off by taking our arms out so our elbows are bent, and place your hands underneath your back. Just draw your knees together, allow your knees to touch and your feet to be apart. So now with your hands touching, or you can even take your hands closer together so that your fingertips are almost touching each wrist. And just take a big breath, and from here we're going to open up through the chest and take a stretch through the shoulders. So try to get your elbows in line with each other. Your elbows are bent, sort of in line with each other. You can always lift your head, have a little look. Lie back down. And then what we want to do is intentionally try to squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. And this action of squeezing them behind you and also pushing them down away from the ears is going to stretch out the front of the shoulders. So really, really intentionally try to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Now that's really physically impossible in the position you're in, but that's the intention you're doing. And you should feel that stretch. You might even feel it slightly down the sides of the neck, over the tops of the shoulders and into the front of the shoulder. And then just close your eyes, draw your elbows down to the ground as well. Make sure those are pressing into the floor at the same time as trying to draw the shoulder blades together. Close your eyes here. And let's just breathe deeply into the chest, filling the belly and the chest. If you can, breathe through the nose today. Nice deep breaths. And just enjoy this moment, breathing deep. Ever so slightly tuck your chin towards your chest just a little bit to keep an opening through the neck and through the skull. Keep your awareness with your body sensations. If anything gets very uncomfortable or too painful, just gently come out of the pose. And just lie here on your back with your knees spread apart this time. So taking the feet together, allow the hips to open up. So just drawing the knees towards the floor with the soles of the feet together. Continuing to draw those shoulder blades together. Taking 2 more deep breaths here. And now roll your head from side to side. And as you slowly roll from side to side, drawing those shoulder blades closer towards each other if you can. Take notice of how as you turn to the opposite side, the opposite shoulder will feel a little more of an intense stretch. Down through the neck and into the shoulder. Rest your head to the left. Kind of look down towards your knee. And just breathe here, drawing that right shoulder blade down to the floor. And then roll your head to the opposite side. Look down at the knee, close your eyes. Drawing that shoulder blade down. And once again, just roll from side to side just a couple of times. Lift your tummy up towards the sky and remove your hands from underneath you. They may feel a little numb from doing that. So just interlace them, push them up towards the sky and up and over your head. Take a big stretch. Bring your knees together. Slowly come on up. And we're going to do another shoulder opener. So we're going to take our blocks or whatever props you've got and make the shape of a T. So you want it to look like this on the ground. You can have your blocks on the second highest level, or you can have them all the way on the flattest level. So totally up to you. The higher they are, the more intense the stretch will be. So make your T, like a capital T. And the block that is parallel with the top of the mat, that one needs to be parallel with the top of the mat, and that's where you're going to rest your head. So move back towards your blocks, start to lean onto your elbows and just feel where this bottom block is. Make sure that it's just below the shoulder blades, so it's on the upper spine between the shoulder blades, in line with the very bottom of the shoulder blades, and no further than that. Once you've got it in place, start to lie back onto the block at the top. Just rest your head there. Make sure it's in position and it's comfortable. Just maneuver the blocks in any way you need to. You can take the soles of the feet together once again and allow your hips to open up. Or you can draw your knees together and have your feet apart, whatever's more comfortable for you today. So just take the hip opener or the knees together that you prefer. From here, draw your elbows together in front of you, bending them, bringing your hands and elbows together, and then open up so they like cactus arms. Just allow them to hang heavy. This can feel quite intense to start with. So just allow them to fall out to the sides, hands up towards the top of the mat, elbows nice and bent. Breathe into this chest opener. It may feel intense at the moment. It should ease up a little bit for you the more you breathe into it. Make sure there's no pain in your spine and that your blocks are no lower than the upper part of your back, just below the shoulder blades. If it's too intense, then lower your blocks onto the lowest level. Give in to gravity, allow them to fall open. Keep your breaths deep. Take one more deep breath here. Beginners, stay where you are, and if you're a little more advanced, start to lift your hands above your head and interlace them, allowing them to fall down to the ground. Just stretching out underneath the armpits, through the forearms. This may not be accessible to everyone, so be where you are. You can stay in that first position and just breathe. Taking one more deep breath wherever you are. Beginners, stay where you are in cactus arms, and anybody who wants to try it can start to bend the elbows, drawing them slowly towards the body. So you're drawing those elbows closer and closer to your body. When you feel a place of resistance, where you feel a huge stretch, then stop. And just feel that stretch out, staying where you are. And then maybe make a big circle with your arms. So everybody, take your fingertips to your shoulder blades, to your shoulders, sorry, and then just rotating the arms. So drawing the elbows up to the sky and taking big or small circles, just opening up through that chest. Just taking these circles in one direction. And then rotate in the opposite direction. And then take your arms down by your side, drawing your forearms down to the floor. Lift your chest and your head up. And just remove your props. Take them to the side, or you can use one in front of you for the next pose. Taking the soles of the feet together in our butterfly pose. Some of you may not be able to sit up tall in this pose. You may need to push your hands behind your spine. Your legs may be up here, and that's okay. Make sure you can just feel that stretch on the inner thigh and the inner hip. If you have the hip flexibility, just allow them to fall open as they want to go. Sit up tall for a moment. We're going to flap the wings of the butterfly if this is possible for your body. And then place a block or a pillow in front of you if you'd like to. You might not need it. You might be able to come all the way to the floor. You can either just sit up tall, or you can start to lean forwards, just allowing your head to hang heavy down towards the ground. Try to keep your spine straight if you're leaning forward. And just breathe deeply here. And although this is a hip opener, It can help with the pain in the sacrum and in the lower part of the spine by releasing these muscles in the hips. That will give you some relief in the lower spine, releasing some of that tension. Just breathe deep. One more deep breath. And then slowly come on up if you were all the way down on the ground. Just make sure your props are out the way. Come into a normal cross-legged position. We're just going to take some side body stretches. Left hand over towards the left side of the mat. Inhale your right arm up and over your head. Look to the sky, tilting your heart towards the sky. Maybe you can come all the way down onto the forearm and place that right hand behind the head, breathing into the side body stretch, releasing the lower back and the side body all at once. And then slowly take it over to the other side. Before you go to the other side, just put the opposite foot in front. And then coming over to the hand on the right, inhaling the left over your ear, maybe coming all the way to the forearm, maybe taking your hand behind your head, tilting the chest to the sky. Breathe deep. And then very slowly come on up. Let's interlace our fingers in front. If you can, twist so the palms are facing away from you. And arch your spine, spreading your shoulder blades as far as you possibly can. Arch your spine. And you should feel a stretch through the backs of the shoulder blades. And then inhale, lift the arms to the sky, look up. Exhale, arch, pushing the shoulder blades apart. Now drawing the hands down towards the floor, feeling the stretch at the top of the shoulders. And inhale, lift the hands to the sky, look up. One more time, arching the spine, push the shoulder blades apart, draw them away from the ears. Very, very slowly lowering the hands to the ground. Release the hands, inhale up, giving your shoulders a little roll. And coming on to all fours in a tabletop position. Hands under shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Let's take 3 cat-cows together. So inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch the spine, tucking the chin and the tailbone, spreading the shoulder blades. 2 more, just like that. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, arch, spreading those shoulder blades as far as you can. And again. Inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale, arch. Walk your hands forward. Rest your forehead on the ground or on one of your props. Extend your hands out long. Make sure your hips are in line with your knees. Hug your belly button back. and lift your elbows off of the ground in our puppy pose. Try to draw your shoulder blades away from each other and down away from the ears. Breathe deep. Walk your hands back into your tabletop position. Inhale the right arm, look up to the sky, lift it up. And then thread it underneath the left arm. Inhale the left arm to the sky. You can place it on your tailbone, or you can find an interlace of the inside of the right thigh. Breathe deeply. In our thread the needle pose. Try to keep your hips still in line with your knees, so don't allow your hips to drop to the left. And then place that left hand back on the ground, push yourself up, tabletop. We're going to take it over to the other side. So inhale this left arm to the sky, look up. Thread it underneath the right, keeping your hips in line with your knees. You can actually leave that right hand placed on the ground, or you could take it to your lower spine, to your sacrum, or find an interlace of the left leg, sorry. Breathe into the twist. Back to your tabletop. Walk your hands a little forward and make your way to downward facing dog. In your first downward facing dog, you may just want to walk your legs just to stretch out those hamstrings. Make sure your hands are shoulder distance, feet are hip distance, sending that tailbone right up to the sky. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. And don't worry if your heels don't touch the ground. This may happen with time, but it doesn't happen for everybody, so don't worry. Now try to pull your shoulder blades apart as if you're trying to get your armpits to look at each other. And just breathe here, taking your gaze between your legs. You can close your eyes. Let's find some spinal waves. So tuck your chin, arching your back, and wave forward into a plank pose. When you become in your plank, tuck your tailbone and find a bounce backwards, trying to keep your legs straight. This will stretch your calves a little, so you're trying to push your heels down towards the ground. And now send your tailbone to the sky and roll back to your downward facing dog. Taking 3 more just like that. Tuck the chin, wave forward to your plank. and finding a bounce. Back to your downward facing dog. I'm going to take just one more of those, waving forwards into your plank, find a bounce, and wave back, downward facing dog. Bend your right leg and place it behind your right palm, taking the foot out to the side so the foot is behind the left palm, and wiggle your back toes so that you come to sit on your right hip. Now you may need your block here if you're more of a beginner or if you haven't got open hips at all. We're coming into, this is our pigeon pose. The foot can be parallel, the shin can be parallel to the top of the mat if you have very open hips. I still have never mastered that, and I've been doing yoga for years, so don't worry if you never get there. I certainly don't think I'm going to. So the closer your heel is towards your thigh or towards your left hip, the easier the stretch will be. If you would like to, you can place a block underneath your right hip just to elevate your hips a little higher, and that will make this pose a lot more accessible to your body. So never try to force your body, just be where you are. And if it's possible, sit up nice and tall, lifting your chest to the sky, and maybe find a gentle rocking from side to side, very, very gentle. It's a small movement. Try to draw this left hip down towards the ground. So you don't want this left hip to be lifted at this point. We want to stretch through our psoas muscle on the left side here and into the left hip, and it just feels absolutely glorious, to be honest. If your body is accessible to this, then yes, it can feel so good. If you are elevated onto a block, you can just stay still and just breathe, keeping your fingertips on the ground, lifting your chest and your heart to the sky. Be where you are, keeping the breath deep. You can close your eyes, and if you're enjoying this little rock, then continue doing it. Feeling through the psoas on the left and feeling through the hip on the right. To keep your knee safe, you want your right foot to be slightly engaged, so you can point the toes and then lift the toes so they're facing up towards the top of the mat, so the toes are engaged. You can become still if you'd like to. Sitting tall, pushing that left hip bone forwards and down, getting a little deeper into the psoas. And only if it feels good, you can start to come down onto your forearms, or you can come down onto a block. Place a block in front of you, lean forwards, draw your shoulder blades together and away from your ears. Keep your neck nice and long. And just breathe into this pose. The more you lean forward, the more you're going to open up the hip on the right side, just helping to release that lower spine and any pain you may be having in your hips just from stress and tension that is stored in those muscles. Or you can come all the way down to the ground if your hips allow you to do so. And just place your forehead onto the ground or onto your palms. Remembering to keep your spine long wherever you are. Keep it nice and long. And breathe into the tension that you're feeling in your hips. Breathe into the stretch. Take one more deep breath. If you're down on the ground, slowly come on up. Just taking a big breath up here. Plant your hands on the ground, tuck the back foot, lifting the knee off the ground, and step back into a plank and just finding a little rock again. Back and forth. And send your tailbone up to the sky. It may feel good just to bend through the legs, just to release that hip after all that stretching. Become still, look between the legs, taking a big breath. We're going to do the same on the other side. So bend the left leg, look forwards, drawing that left knee behind the left palm. And the toes come behind the right palm. But as I say, the closer the heel is to the body, the easier the stretch will be. Find some comfort extending through the back leg. Remember, you can always prop this hip. So this time you would prop the left hip onto one of your props if you need to. Sit up tall, and if it feels good, find that rocking motion. Drawing that right hip bone down to the ground. Just feeling out the pose. Engage through the toes. And if anything's painful, just back off, maybe even come back to downward facing dog and try come back into the pose. Sometimes you just don't open the hip correctly and you're sitting in quite an uncomfortable position. Sometimes you need to readjust the pose. So listen to your body and where it is today. Finding that slight rock, if that's good. Stretching through the right psoas this time. You can become still and just breathe if you'd like. And then from here, if you want to, come down to the forearms or place your hands onto your prop, your forearms onto your prop. Or come all the way down to the forehead, resting and sinking heavy over this front knee, opening up through the hip. Keep your breath deep. One more deep breath. Slowly come on up. And from here, plant your hands on the ground, shoulder distance. Lift up off of the back knee, step back to plank. Find that bounce just a few times. And then send it up and back. Downward facing dog once again. Taking some deep breaths. Now bend your knees, draw your knees together, open up through your feet. So your feet are wider than your hips and you're going to sit down between your feet. This is hero pose and this is not accessible to everyone. You may want to sit on your block. I'm going to face away from you so that you can see what I'm going to do with my hands. So you're sitting between your heels, and for a really wonderful shoulder stretch as well as a tricep stretch, we're going to attempt, it's not for everybody, and I'll explain a different variation if it's not possible for you, taking your left hand behind your spine, between your shoulder blades, wherever you can get it, then taking your right hand up and over your head and attempting to take a little grip of the fingertips of the left hand. So you're hitting two birds with one stone. You're stretching the tricep here on the right, and you're stretching through the shoulder on the left, releasing the neck and the shoulder there. If this is not possible, then you can either just bend the right hand and use your left arm to push that back, so you're stretching through the armpit and into the tricep here on the right side. Or you can just take a grip of your clothes, so take your left hand behind you, take a grip of your clothes and try to pull that shoulder down, so the left shoulder down, trying to stretch through the front of the shoulder. So that's an option. You can also use a belt and take a grip of the belt between the hands. So any of these variations, just sit up tall and breathe deep, keeping those shoulders down, so just resting them down. Taking one more deep breath here. Just slowly rest your head towards the right, getting a deeper stretch in through the left shoulder. And then start to look down towards the ground on the right side, so you're trying to look at your right toes. Giving a stretch through the shoulder, just in a slightly different place. And then gently release the fingertips or your prop and just rest your hands down, taking some neck circles from side to side. Come on forwards, coming out of your hero pose, and just take a comfortable seat. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, so just take any seat you want to take with the legs. You can sit in a simple cross-legged position, you can kneel, whatever you want to do. So we're going to swap hands this time. So we're going to take our left hand up and over the head. You can just use the right to guide that hand a little further down between your shoulder blades, really stretching through that tricep. Or you can take this right hand behind your spine as well, maybe just taking a grip of your clothes, trying to open up through the shoulder on the right side. Or maybe, just maybe, you can grab the fingertips in a full Gomukhasana arms. And just sit up tall, neck nice and straight. Wherever you are, just breathe into this pose. One more deep breath, just like this. And then start to rest your head over towards the left. And take your gaze down towards the left side of the floor. So over your left hip. Close your eyes again. Getting a deeper stretch in through that right shoulder. Come back to center, release the hands nice and slowly. Give them a little roll. If you're in a kneeling position, just change into a nice cross-legged position now. And if you're in a cross-legged position already, swap the legs. So put the opposite foot in front or the opposite foot on top. And we're going to just end this class with a really beautiful neck stretch. So extend through the left hand, taking the left fingertips down to the ground. Now draw your shoulder blades back towards each other as best you can. You'll already start to feel a stretch into the shoulder, but also up into the neck. And start to walk the fingertips behind you a little bit. So they're not in line with the shoulder anymore, they're a little bit behind you. And starting to drop the head over towards the right. It can be quite intense, so you can just stay here, or you can add extra resistance by taking the right hand to the top of the head and slowly drawing the head a little deeper. So draw the shoulders down and try to draw your shoulder blades towards each other. Breathing deep. Now taking the gaze, looking at the right knee, and just dropping the chin towards the chest, looking at the right knee. You can close your eyes again. Releasing the head with the hand and just roll your head over towards the left. Release the left hand to your knee and extend through the right hand, taking the fingertips down towards the ground. Dropping the shoulder down, drawing your shoulder blades back towards each other, and then walking the fingertips a little further back. You can stay here, or you can place this left hand on top of the head, drawing the head a little further down, breathing deep. And then taking your gaze over towards the left knee, dropping your chin towards your chest. You can close your eyes here and just breathe deep. Slowly let go of the head. Roll the head very slowly towards the right. Taking your right hand to your right knee and just finding some neck circles from side to side. Back to center. Interlace your fingertips, just arching that spine once again, pushing those shoulder blades apart, tucking the chin to your chest, and then drawing the hands down to the ground once again. Lift them up and draw them down, staying in a bent position just for a minute. Lift them up and draw them down. Taking a grip of your knees, inhale, lift your chest to the sky, look up and back to center. We're just going to take a little moment here together just for some complete silence, and I hope that this has made you feel good, and try not to skip this meditation here at the end with me. So sit up tall through the spine, place your hands on your knees all together in your lap, closing the eyes. Allow your breath to be totally natural, your shoulder blades roll down and back. Allow any thoughts that come into your mind to pass and be with this moment. Listen to the sound of the breath. Become aware of the body and how it feels. If you're enjoying your meditation, then just stay here, staying present, enjoy it. If you'd like to end your class with me, then inhale your hands to the sky, draw your face to the sky with your eyes closed, bringing your hands to your heart center in prayer, bow your head. Namaste. You can open your eyes. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you today. I feel absolutely honored for each and every one of you. You guys are honestly, you make it all worth it. Let me know in the comments how this class made you feel. If there was anything that was really new to you that felt really good, do let me know. And if you have any class requests, I always am always welcoming to those as well. So feel free to let me know. Until next time, everybody, I hope your body feels a lot lighter and happier, ready for the day ahead. Until next time, namaste.